Hello students, how are you? So welcome back to the virtual learning classes. As per requested by many students that most of the students could not attend the Google Meet classes. So for them I am making this video, and as per that we have already started a new chapter that will be coming for the post midterm syllabus, that is water. We know what is water, and in the Google Meet classes we have discussed that what is water. What is water, what are the characteristics of water, water exists in a liquid state. Water does not have a fixed shape, but it has a fixed volume, and water is a universal solvent. Water is a basic component of a living organism on this earth. Yes, it is a, be it humans, be it animals, it is a basic organism. Its importance in biochemical process or biological process or for the living organism is very important. And one more thing is that some sources of water is also drinkable, is a potable. What is potable? Can be drunken. Like as I told you that in on earth 70% of the is covered by water, and among this 70% all are included, be it ocean, be it pond, be it rivers, all are. And among this 70%, if I say that only 97% cannot be drunken, it is not potable. And but rest 3% of the water sources can be drunken. So see, very little amount, only 3% is available for us to drink, and rest 97% is not drinkable. But here is also question that some student have asked, that is it not a way that for by which they this 97% means sea and ocean, it acquires by the sea and ocean, can it be never be drunken? No, it's not true. As we are advancing, the technology is also advancing. So the scientists have also find a way to drink the seawater, and it can be drunk. It's not that ocean water, sea water, that 97% of water that we cannot drink because it contains a high amount of salt, is can also be drunk by river osmosis process. Which process? Reverse osmosis process. Reverse osmosis process is one of the process by which we can drink this ocean water. Means this is a one way by which we can make make ocean water a potable water. Now the question is, what is reverse osmosis? Reverse osmosis is just a process of removing salt from sea and ocean. This is the only reason, that's it, nothing else. This is the only reason, but nothing else. I mean, nothing else means there is it is just a simple definition. If you want to get in a deeper definition, that means it is a very, this definition is not this is not a perfect definition of this, because it is a kind of phenomena where the flow of high concentration to, you will not understand that how it happens. So this is, by this process we can make a sea water or ocean water potable water. Now come back to the main topic that today we will discuss. It is about what? It is about water cycle. See, we know the importance of water, how water is important to for us and for every living organism on this earth. But there is also one question is that it's not that we are using water now only. This water was present millions years ago. Water, some of the things on this earth were present millions years ago, and still it is continuing, still it is existing. And the question is, why, how How it is existing, how this water is existing is a millions years ago. This is not the first time, or this is not the second time, or neither it will be the last time that we are using water. The water has been in existence since a millions years ago, and the people, animals, living organism present millions years ago were also using this water. Then why this water is not getting exhausted? That is the first question. This is because this is because that the waters are getting circulated. It is coming back, it is exhausting, we are using, and it is again coming back to the to other form, to the other sources in different forms. And that is the beauty of this, that is the beauty of the nature. Like air has been existing, here has been existing millions years ago, and then also we are and it will be existing after millions years ago also, and it's still not exhausting. That is also one of the means one of the interesting part, that why it is not exhausting. Every Now see, 150 million people are there, and each people need oxygen, and that even if these people need oxygen, then we can assume that of course the water should get exhausted, oxygen goods should exhausted, but no, it is not happening. And that is the beauty, and this is because these sources are again getting circulated again and again on this nature. And these type of sources are called renewable sources. Means these sources are getting renewed. These sources, water is getting renewed. And these kind of sources are called renewable sources. So what we can say, that water is a renewable sources of energy. Renewable sources of energy means that these water is hardly can get exhausted. These water hardly can get exhausted. Renewable means what? The word here renewable I have used. What is this? See, by the word we can at least get an idea. See, if you break this word, re plus new, well, what can we understand? See, re plus new. See, re plus new. We know what is new. New means nutun, and re means like পুরনো জিনিসকে নতুন করা, পুরনো জিনিসকে নতুন করা, and that is what it is called renewable. So water is a renewable sources of energy. That means it is again and again getting renewed. Means it is not getting exhausted. And whom should we call renewable sources of energy? The sources which cannot get cannot get exhausted, or it will take million years to get exhausted, millions years to get exhausted, millions. So this is what renewable sources of energy. So what are the renewable sources of energy? So we can say that water is a renewable because it has been present millions of years ago also, and it's still existing, and it will exist after our death also, after million years of also. So water is a renewable. Another is air. Air was also present. It's not like that now we are using oxygen to breathe, to live, but at the same time, but it was, and millions years ago they were using something else. No, millions years also ago and living organism are using this oxygen as a basic component or basic living. So air, water, solar means sun, better to say sun. See, sun doesn't get exhausted. Have ever been a sun was existing, it was in existence millions of years ago, and it will be continuing. So this water, air, sun, then the wind, These are all renewable sources of energy which won't get exhausted with which will get exhausted. So these are the water. So in this, because of this nature, since water is getting renewed, so water is getting renewed, we are getting back the from different forms of water on the earth. So now how this water is getting now major question is that how this water is getting renewed. Water is getting renewed by the process of the water cycle, by the process of water cycle. Now the question is, what is water cycle? What is water cycle? We have learned, we have an idea what is water cycle, and these water cycle have a basic four main phenomena or four main process that this water cycle undergo. Okay, let's write it. So what is water cycle? The continuous circulation of water to earth is called a water cycle. We know that is a, since water is, and due to this water cycle process, the water is getting renewed. Due to this water is getting renewed on earth, getting renewed on earth again and again, right? So see, due to this water is getting renewed on earth again and again because of this water cycle. Now the question is that what are the sources of water? Like now this water is getting renewed, but water is getting renewed in what ways? In water, it can. So now let's now tell me that what are the sources, different sources of water. Now we should know that what are the different sources of water. So we know that the various sources of water, that is that are various sources of water. What are the sources of water? Sources of water. The sources of water is, the sources of water is lakes, rivers, ponds, sea, ocean, rain, snow. These are the sources of water, and etc. There are many ways. There is groundwater. Don't forget the most important water or fresh water. So and this is and etc. and so on. So there are various sources by which we can get the water. Now tell me that how this rain, how these rivers are flow. Now one, there is also one question. There's sources of water at this lake, river, ponds. But how these rivers are filled with water, or how, that is also main question, how the groundwater is filled, are getting renewed, how this groundwater is getting renewed, how rivers are getting renewed, and how lakes and ponds of the water of lakes and ponds are getting renewed every year. See, this rivers, in rivers what actually happen, the snow present in mountain, it is present in mountain, melts and melts down and form a stream, and this stream is called, river. Okay, how groundwater is getting, the groundwater is getting, see, the main sources of water is, again we can say it is a from for river, the snow, and also we can say rainwater. Rainwater is also plays an important role for recharging these sources of water. How it is getting recharged? One, we can say that snow, another is rainwater. And how groundwater is getting recharged? Yes, the groundwater means water present below the earth crust. Water present below the earth crust are called groundwater. And how it is getting recharged? It is getting recharged by percolation. Percolation means percolation of rainwater. Now main question is that percolation of rainwater I can understand, but like how getting it is what is percolation? Percolation means how to get inside. Percolated means sipping inside or sliding inside. স্লাইডিং মানে ঢুকে যাওয়া, ঘষে মানে একটু একটু করে ঘষে মানে ঢুকে যাওয়া মানে স্লাইডিং ইনসাইড। বাট how groundwater, how the rainwater is percolated? Percolation of rainwater inside the earth crust. How inside the earth crust? See, these suppose this is ground. Okay, let me show you. See, this is a ground, you can see, and these ground, from through our naked eye we can assume that there is no hole, but there are small holes on this ground. This is small minute holes are present on the earth crust. Minute holes. So these minute holes, and when the rainwater is falling, when this rainwater is falling on this ground, what will happen? These ground will absorb the water through these holes, will absorb the water through this hole, and then what will happen? This water will flow through inside the ground and will reach it to the groundwater level. Groundwater, where all the water is present. All the water is present, and this is that we call this is, and this is percolation of rainwater. You have seen, তোমরা দেখেছো যে অনেকক্ষণ বৃষ্টি হওয়ার পর কিছুক্ষণ পর দেখবে জলের মাটিতে যে জলটা জমে যায়, কিছুক্ষণ পর দেখবে সেই জলটা আর থাকে না, মানে জলটা যেন কোথাও চলে গেছে। জলটা কিছুক্ষণ পর দেখবে জলটা আর থাকে না মাটির উপরে। সেটা যায় কোথায়? সঙ্গে সঙ্গে তো এমনি ইভাপোরেট হবে না, যায় কোথায়? That happens, কোথাও যায় না, they actually what happens, সেই ওয়াটারগুলো কি হয়ে গেছে? জলের ভিতরে ঢুকে গেছে, মানে টেনে নিয়েছে, মাটি সেটা টেনে নিয়েছে। দ্যাট মিনস দ্য রেন ওয়াটার হ্যাজ বিন পার্কোলেটেড, মানে টেনে নিয়েছে। আর কেন, কিভাবে টেনে নিয়েছে? বিকজ ইট হ্যাজ আ গ্রাউন্ড হ্যাজ আ মাইনিউট হোলস which we cannot see but water can feel, which we cannot see but water can feel, and this water passes through this hole and reaches to ground level, and this is how the groundwater is recharged. So we can say that rainwater is a main source by which that lake, river, pond, groundwaters are getting recharged, right? So rainwater is main source by which lake, rivers, ponds, groundwater are getting recharged. Now this is the water. Now comes to the main, since we have told you that we will discuss about the rainwater. So water cycle. Now let's come to the water cycle. Now tell me that we know that water cycle, what is water cycle? And this water cycle has 4 basic phenomena, is undergone by. Water cycle has many process, right? 4 main process. And what that these 4 main process? Condensation, evaporation, precipitation, transpiration, right? These are the 4 main process that involves in water cycle. So what are the 4? So water cycle involves 4 main process. And what are the 4 main process? Has 4 main process by which water is renewed. And what are these 4 main process? 4 main process is evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and transpiration. Now see, now we know we know these two processes, right? We know these two processes. What is these two processes? Conversion of liquid to gas, that means water to water vapor, right? And the conversion, what is condensation? The conversion of gas to liquid, that means water vapor to water. Water vapor to water is condensation. But now here there are two main processes. But here are two other processes that are new to us. And what are they? Precipitation and transpiration. Now the question is, what is precipitation? Precipitation means water released. Water released in the form of rain, hailstorm or snow. Water released to earth. Water released to earth. মানে এই যে বৃষ্টি পড়ছে, রেনফল হচ্ছে, that is called precipitation. Precipitation is what? It is a process where water is released. It is process in which water is released to earth in the form of rainwater, in the form of rain. See, আমাদের the clouds, we know the clouds. These clouds, what is actually happening? The water is getting back to the earth, but how it is getting back to the earth? By the form of rain. বৃষ্টিতে আমরা জল ফিরে পেতে পারি. By the form of snow, yes, in the form of snow also, and in the form of hailstorm, in the form of hailstorm that we call Shila Brishti. So by these three processes we can get the water back. And the getting back of water in the form of rain, hailstorm and snow is actually what it is called. It is called precipitation. Now comes to the next question, that is, what is transpiration? Transpiration is evaporation or water released by plants through leaves. Water released by plants through leaves is called transpiration. Water released by plant through leaves is called transpiration. Transpiration is only important for the plants. The plants even undergo this evaporation. That means that water is released by the plants through leaves, and these water get evaporated, and again it is going under to various process and getting recharged. Now the main question is that how this plant release water. How this plant release water? So plant can release water. Okay, I'm rubbing it. So there is various process by which plant can release water. Plant can release water through leaves, and that through leaves means how? Release water through leaves. But how through leaves? See, suppose this is a leaf. Now these leaves have small holes in it, have small minute pores in it, and these pores are called stomata. And through these pores the water is released. Through these pores water is released. As I told you, plants release water through leaves, and these leaves have minute pores, minute or tiny pores, and through these pores the water is released. And these pores, what is these pores are called? These pores are called stomata. Stomata. Now, so we have understood what is transpiration, what is evaporation, what is condensation, and at the same time that this transpiration is very important. This transpiration, each and every process is very important for maintaining the temperature, humidity of the earth. Temperature and humidity of the earth. That means that we can say that transpiration is important. Transpiration affects the humidity and one thing, that the temperature of the earth. Temperature of earth. Right? So we have understood what is transpiration, what is precipitation, what is evaporation, and what is condensation. Now let's come back to the main thing, that how these processes are happening all together. Is it happening all together or is it happening one by one? See, all these processes are happening. If we talk about it in this environment, all these processes is happening simultaneously, but each and every process having in a step by step. For example, if water has to get, as you have seen that water cycle involves evaporation, condensation, transpiration, and precipitation, and we know that until we know each process, what are these processes. Now tell me, until and unless evaporation happens, we cannot go for condensation, and until and unless this condensation will happen, there will be no precipitation. And again, so similarly, so these processes are what you can see, these processes are actually water cycle. So now see, what are the, so let's summarize it. So first, what will happen, the first process is, suppose this is a land, this is a water, these are the trees, and this is a mountain. These are the mountains, snow mountains. Okay, snow mountains. Now tell me, so what will happen? So what is happening? So here, sun. The sun plays an important role for evaporation. So what will happen? The water is getting evaporated. Evaporation is occurring. But at the same time, see here, you see here the trees are present. So trees will also undergo what? Transpiration. The transpiration. So until and unless this evaporation and transpiration will happen, there will be no condensation. So the first evaporation will occur. Then what will happen? When these water vapors will go rise, what will happen? They will cool down. As it goes up, it will get cooled down, and this water will condense to water. This water vapor will condense to water, giving us what? Giving us cloud. Giving us what? Giving us cloud. So this is called condensation. Through condensation, what is formed? Cloud is formed. Through condensation cloud is formed. And these cloud will again, what will happen? When it reaches over here, what will happen? They will fall, rainfall will happen. And these rainfall is called what? Precipitation. Here also snow, suppose this is snow. Snow is happening. Here snow, here rain. So it is also, here also precipitation is occurring. So you can see that these processes are interrelated to each other. Interrelated to each other means that until and unless transpiration, evaporation will not occur, the condensation will not happen. And if condensation will not happen, then precipitation will not happen. And if precipitation will not happen, then this evaporation cannot happen. This evaporation cannot happen. Until unless if there is no precipitation, then the evaporation will not happen. So these processes is actually in what? In a cyclic form. Like each and every process are interrelated to each other. Each and every process are interrelated to each other. Related to each other. That means it is coming back to the earth again and again. So that means we can say that better to say, okay, let's summarize it. So here you can see that I summarize it, that first with there is no first process. There is not the first process. First will happen, the plants will undergo transpiration. River, sea, pond, every water sources will undergo evaporation. Then after evaporation, what will happen? After evaporation, the water vapor will rise up. It will get cooled down. The water vapor, after cooling down, it will condense. Water vapor will condense to water, giving us what? Giving us cloud. Giving us cloud and undergoing the condensation process. This condensation process leads to precipitation. That means water, this cloud will release water. Cloud will release the water. Release the water in many form. In many form means how much? It can release in water, in rain form, in hailstorm form, in a snow form. And through these rains, hailstorm and snow, the water is recharged. Water is recharged. Water is getting recharged in ponds, sea, river, lakes. Now since this water is falling on ponds, rivers and water, again this water again undergoing evaporation, condensation, precipitation, again getting recharged, evaporation, condensation, precipitation, again getting recharged, transpiration, evaporation, condensation, precipitation. See, these are what? These are the water cycle. This is a water cycle that is continuously happening every moment, every second. Understood? This is what water cycle is. This is what water cycle is. So we have discussed the water cycle. Now in the next class, in your next class, we will discuss about that what will happen if this process, one of the process get hampered. If one of these process get absent, then there will be various problem that we will face. Various problem. We cannot assume that what is the problem. One can face, if it is suppose only precipitation is occurring, no evaporation is occurring. Suppose this is not occurring, then there will be what? Flood. Flood. बाढ़ चले আসবে. And if there is no precipitation is occurring, then what will happen? Only evaporation is occurring, condensation is occurring, but no precipitation. Then drought, famine, this kind of natural disaster we will face. See, absence of any of these process will lead to various natural disaster that we will learn in the next class. Till then, have a nice day and thank you.